Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network with Dave Stewart. It is a Wednesday. I'm Rob Adams. As Donald Eng goes off and does the Monroe Courier thing, we get Dave in here, not the Monroe Courier, not to be messing up our pronunciations or anything. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing all right today, Rob. How are you?
I'm good. We're punchy in here. You know, GE's leaving the state. We've got all kinds of things. Cats and dogs getting along mass hysteria. So, but anyway.
Crazy day.
Yeah, it is. Crazy day. Good to see you. And, you know, coming off some basketball that, dare I say, wasn't exactly blistering last night. I know you had to follow along from, you know, you weren't with us last night, but, boy, 39-35. You had an interesting game to start the start our show. New Canaan and Darien played some basketball as well earlier this week. Those scores weren't exactly blistering as well.
No, but I'll tell you, I went to the boys' game over at Darien High School. It was great atmosphere there. It's fun because a game like that kind of puts, I think, high school sports in perspective because, you know, everybody talks about championships and playoffs and things like that, and those two teams right now aren't in the discussion for playoffs. So, you know, there's still a long way to go. But just winning that game for New Canaan is such a big lift to that team, and you could see there was a spring in their step afterwards. And you know, it's fun that you win that game, that rivalry game, and I think that puts everything in perspective.
Speaking of rivalry, speaking of Darien New Canaan, that's where we will draw our guests from through this half hour. We will speak with both Jamie Tropsa and Rich Beal, and the two head coaches of the Darien and New Canaan girls ice hockey teams. And right now, I have to be honest, I've covered Darien New Canaan boys ice hockey for years in one form or another. Right now, there is not a rivalry there per se. There'll always be a rivalry between the two schools, but right now, Darien's got the better of it. They haven't beaten the Rams outright in a couple of years. Darien New Canaan girls hockey, that's going to be phenomenal, and we've got the second matchup of those two games this year.
Yeah, those are two teams that are playing just at an elite level right now. I mean, they're just to put it in perspective, you look at Ridgefield, which is considered right now the third best team in the league, and they are in third place. And Darien beat Ridgefield 8-2. And New Canaan beat them 6-1. So that just shows you the level they're playing at right now. Darien only has the one loss to Greenwich Academy, which is another powerhouse, and you know, New Canaan's sailing along at 8-0. So I mean, this is a fun game. You've got a lot of stars on there. Georgia Cassidy on Darien, Catherine Granito on New Canaan, the two people who can really score. And there's just the lineups top to bottom on both teams are loaded.
Let us shift back over to basketball, though, because we do have the highlights from last night's game as put together by Eric Gendron and all of the footage shot by our great crew out there last night. So this was at Stanford High School's Paul Cookso Gymnasium. Happened last night right here on the HAN Network. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stanford High School for boys basketball on the HAN Network. And tonight, the Norwalk Bears come to Stanford to take on the Stanford Black Knights. Going to St. John. Now the ball fake Poby. Poby backs it all the way out, looks right side, goes over toward the corner, and Jimmer hits the three.
Jimmer doing Jimmer things, Rob.
Brings the quick pass over, all the way over left corner. Lavaris a three. Good!
It's a phenomenal job by Jay DeVito being a team player there. Yep, that's what they need. There you go, the outside shot, perfect.
Deep three, DeAndre Russell answers.
And that's what Norwalk needs. They need to get the ball in his hand and make some plays around Russell.
8-point game. Across the timeline comes Crafter, hands it off. O'Hara, right hand on the dribble. He'll pull up from downtown. It's good! 48 to go in the first half, and the pace on fire right now. Russell answers!
How exciting is this? Wow, it's a three-point battle. What a phenomenal exhibition of basketball.
On the inbound, comes into Crafter. Fake the three, goes over to Russell in the corner. Gives it down low to Jerome. Throws it off glass. Chris Kalin would say, send it in, Jerome. It's a 35-33 game. It's a good one, a 2-point game. They scrum for it, and a travel's going to turn it over. Norwalk gets the ball. They'll have it from right to left with 41 seconds to go. They'll come in from the backcourt with Langley and Crafter. Mark Crafter Jr. across the line. And a whistle turns it back the other way with 35 to play.
That is costly. That was a blatant travel there. Tried to pass it down to Langley in the paint, but he hesitated there. I think he saw something that he didn't like, but at that point, it's too late to give up on the play.
39-35, ball comes over near side with 3. Gaynor throws it down. It goes off the backboard, and this one is over. And the Stamford Black Knights get a 4-point win on this Tuesday night. Low scoring, but the final score, Stamford 39, Norwalk 35. And so the highlights from last night, Jake Zimmer and Frank Granito alongside of me for the call, and 39-35. Norwalk can't shoot the ball, for one thing, and I like them. I think they're a nice little team, but they can't shoot the ball. And Stamford, Tevin St. John, my goodness, I felt bad for him. The free throws, it was tough night, both teams, but one got the win.
Yes, and Stanford's playing really well right now. Jay DeVito's playing is just taking them on their shoulders. He's leading them.
Yeah, he didn't have the best night last night either. But yes, I like him.
But he's kind of the floor general out there. He's the guy running the show. And I saw him against New Canaan last week, and he had, I believe, 16 of their 20 points in the first half, so he can score too. And you need a player like that who's going to take control, and Stanford's doing what they have to do right now.
How do you assess Brian McMahon at this point? If you're looking at the basketball standings, how do you assess what the Senators are doing? Because when I initially looked at them, I said, well, strength of schedule-wise, I mean, you have to beat who's on your schedule, but they haven't exactly played a great schedule so far, but they continue winning.
You can only beat who's in front of you.
Exactly.
And that's it. And if you're rolling along at 7-0, 8-0, actually 7-0 right now, they're beating who's out there and who's in front of them. I think their win last night, West Hill, is their most impressive.
I agree with that.
At this point, so maybe now they'll start getting a little more respect that they deserve. I think people tend to look at your strength of schedule and stuff, and if you go 6-0, you win your first 6 games. I don't care who you're playing. You're doing what you have to do to be in it, and you're going to be in it till the end. With a start like they've got, that you got to say they're one of the teams to beat. Them, Stanford's right up there. Of course, Danbury. We saw them last week on Thursday at Norwalk. They look like a very, very good team. So I think McMahon deserves a lot of respect at this point.
They seem to. They have played well, and we'll see them in a doubleheader later this season, February 5th, I believe, to be exact, a Friday night as part of a girls-boys doubleheader. So that'll be over at Norwalk, so we look forward to that as well. And do you sense is it Danbury, McMahon, Stanford, everybody else? Can you sense right now where basketball sits, boys basketball?
From what I've seen, and if you do look at the schedule, I think you have to in this point that Danbury seems to right now they have the best. Like if you wanted to go by quality wins, they've beaten some good teams. They beat both last year's FCAC finalists in 1 week, and they seem to have the deepest roster. That being said, McMahon's looking awful good right now, and that win over West Hill last night will open some eyes. Stanford's rolling along 3-0 in the FCAC at this point, and they're beating the teams that they have to beat. So looking good.
And again, it speaks to what we said during the FCAC tour that it's a wild, wild west of FCAC boys basketball this year.
Yes, it is. It's open up, but you're starting to see some stuff kind of pan out in different directions with McMahon and Danbury and Stanford, and teams are off to a good start. That's going to keep them in it. We're
still going to talk with the 2 girls hockey coaches. How about girls basketball? Greenwich continues to play well. I expect a pretty good game Friday night between Greenwich and Ridgefield. Where do you see girls basketball right now?
I still like Greenwich. I think Greenwich is very good. I think Ridgefield will be fine. They started out a little slow, but last year, I believe we've talked about this before. I think they came in as the 3rd or 4th seed last year in the FCAC tournament and won it. So those are 2 good teams. Ward's excellent.
Yes.
So there's some very, very good teams, and I still like Greenwich. I like Abby Wolf. I think she's probably the best player in the FCAC, if not the state right now. And
Tiana England right there.
She's very good too. Stanford's another team that's kind of towards the, little maybe just behind that pack, but could beat anybody up ahead of them.
Couple of things I want to make sure I mention on this edition of the show, because it is Wednesday, our last show of the week. Next week, we will hit the road on Monday for boys ice hockey. We've got Trumbull and Massac at the rinks at Shelton at 4. Wednesday, we have switched off to Darien and St. Joe's in boys ice hockey as well. I think that could be a good game right now. St. Joe's is giving a lot of teams some fits, and Darien's still Darien. Darien's going to be fine, but I think that has a chance to be a good game. That's next Wednesday, 6:30 at the rinks at Shelton as well. We've also added a wrestling game into the list. Danbury and Fairfield Ward at Fairfield Ward. That's 5 o'clock on January 27th. So couple of changes that we've made to the schedule. You can find it all at han.network. We should pause for a break, continue on here with the show, and we'll get to some other stuff as well as our guests as we continue on for a Wednesday Nutmeg Sports. Stick around with us right here on the HAN Network.
Here at the Darien Sports Shop, we are very excited about our newly redesigned men's department. Gentlemen, if you're shopping for work, weekend, or wedding, we've got the latest styles and trends inside our spacious new department just for you. We have vast selections from Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Johnny O, Duckhead, Barber, and so much more. And you can even walk out of the store in the new Wolverine 1,000-mile men's boot. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances, where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest, where automation will never replace consideration, where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports. It is a Wednesday edition. Dave's getting beaten up as usual, but that's all right. That's par for the course.
Hey, I'm used to it. I take it. But as I would ask Rich, where's the love?
Bring them on. There. You know who these guys are. Introduce them for us.
We've got the head coach of New Canaan girls hockey, Rich Buellin, and the head coach of Darien girls hockey, Jamie Tropsa, who have a very big game this weekend at the Darien Ice Rink, 3:50 on Saturday. Coaches, how you doing?
Very good, guys. How are you?
Hanging in there. This is a pretty big week for you guys. Tell me how are the girls feeling about this game?
I think no matter what, when it's Darien and New Canaan, it's always big. I think everybody's pumped up with the fact that both teams have been playing pretty good hockey so far, and now we have a chance to see each other, and it's such a great rivalry. I think without saying, the girls are ready. They're ready to go. They're fired up. I don't know about me and Jamie, but they're ready.
Yeah, Jamie, how are the Blue Wave girls doing at this point?
I think we're doing well. We had a nice little break at Christmas. We took about 10 days off. So, I think that hopefully will pay off at the end of the year. But I think we're ready for this game. And, a lot of these girls know each other. They play against each other in other sports. So I'm very excited that it should be a good game for everybody to watch.
We talked to the captains of both teams earlier in the year, and I thought something that Georgia Cassidy at Darien said was pretty cool. We talked to about biggest moments in her career, and she pointed to the FCAC Girls Hockey Championship her freshman year when I believe New Canaan was a 3-time defending champion at that point, and Darien came in and knocked them off. That was the first one of 3 straight for Darien. I thought that was great that she's looking back on her career, which she's had a lot of great stuff going on, and she's looking at a game her freshman year against New Canaan. What do you think about what do you think that says about the rivalry?
I think it says a lot. Georgia, comes ready to play in those big games, whether it's ice hockey, field hockey, or whatever. But she's just such a competitive kid, and I think her true love is ice hockey. So it's really nice to hear that she looks back on that game. That was obviously a big game. New Canaan had a strong team, and we were the ones looking at from the outside in, and it was a big victory for Darien hockey without a doubt.
Now, Rich, you have a player right now who just hit a milestone, Catherine Granito, 200. I believe she has 204 points now, but she's the 4th player to pass the 200-point mark. Just tell us a little about Catherine and what she's done during her career.
I think what Jamie said, kind of the same thing with Georgia, applies to Catherine. They're both the kind of kids that they come ready to play, and as much as both of them are outstanding athletes in other sports, I think hockey's both of their true loves, and it shows in the way they present themselves, how they show up, the way they carry their teams on the ice, with really without saying a lot, but just by playing and being there. And Catherine, from the moment she got here, she scored that first goal, which turned out to be the winning goal in the state championship as a freshman. She's just been such a big part of what we do, and I know she's excited too, because as a senior, she wants to try to close out and go out on a good note, and it would be ideal if we get to see these guys both in the FCAC and states. I think it would just be great hockey, a great game for both teams.
That would be great. 4 times in one season would be incredible.
Guys,
well, I love Jamie, so it's not a problem, but he'd be sick of me by the second game.
Hey, guys, it's Rob Adams. Good to talk to both of you. Thanks for coming on. Tell us about both of your, you both have good goaltending, and in one case, you got multiple good goaltenders. Tell us about the players in net.
Well, I have sophomore Sarah Street that was really thrown into the fire, and she actually played for Jamie. She played travel for Jamie, and that was actually her first experience playing hockey, I think, and playing goal. So that was a pressure position and a tough thing for a kid to learn. And she actually performed very well for us as a freshman last year, got even better this year. And I think a lot of the reason for that is we have a freshman, Amanda Hill, that's been playing for quite some time, probably since she was, James, 7, 8? And she's really pushed it so that Sarah, as much as she's improved on her own already, now you have that competition. So the two of them have really had some great games. I've split them in 2 games, and I've let them start 3 each, and the results have been, pleasantly surprising. I'm very happy with the way both have handled it, and again, being so young as a freshman and a sophomore.
And my starting goalie, Emily Giannunzio, I think she's played for me since she was 10 years old, and she's really developed into a great competitor. So I think it's going to be interesting. This might be one of the first years in a long time that both of us have strong goaltending.
You guys are going to see each other at least twice, and probably seeing each other in the playoffs too. You have 2 regular season games. How important is this first one to kind of set the tone, and do you see it as carrying over into the next game, or if there's a third or a fourth?
I would say this is definitely going to set the tone this game.
Okay.
I hate to keep harping on it, but I think both teams have such competitive kids that no matter what happens in the first one, it will set the tone, but you're still going to look forward to that playoff game, which when you get there, anything can happen, right? You have 2 good teams, 2 great goaltenders in net for both sides. Anything can happen. So it's going to be a very interesting end of the season.
I also think, too, that, that game where Georgia referenced to her freshman year, that was a big turning point. They came in and they do what good teams do. They took advantage of mistakes we had made, and they jumped on it and came out with a really impressive win, and that kind of turned the tide, whereas, they've been the team to beat the last few years. And I know the girls are looking forward as far as, of course you always want to win the game. I think one of the biggest things is we really just have to come out and play well and play smart, because some of those games the last couple of years have been, pretty one-sided as far as decision goes. And we know that, but we know also we're a little bit better team this year, and we could play a little bit better. But like Jamie said, I think on both sides, they're just ready to come out and play. It's like they just want to play now. All the other stuff, okay, we could talk about it, and actually, it's a lot of fun, but I think both teams are really just ready to play.
They're both going to be good games, and we've got the second one here on the HAN Network. We're excited about that. That's the Friday night at the end of January, and it's going to be a lot of good hockey, guys. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Anytime, and we'll have some buffalo chicken pizza when we're down there at the Darien Ice Rink. Thanks, guys.
Human's buying.
Love the sound of it. We'll talk to you soon. We'll have you on again really soon. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, both head coaches from Darien and New Canaan, Rich Buell and Jamie Tropsa. We'll take a break. Nutmeg Sports will continue right after this here on the HAN Network. Denali is your outdoor retail destination in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. For the last 21 years, we have carefully selected clothing, footwear, and gear from a variety of the best outdoor brands, such as the North Face, Patagonia, Vineyard Vines, UGG, Merrell, GoPro, New Balance, and many more. Our stores have a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you with all of your running, hiking, and cold weather needs, and in discovering all things outdoorsy and awesome. Visit us in the Westfield Trumbull Mall or online at DenaliOutdoor.com.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express, open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Discover the Wilburton Inn in Manchester, Vermont, a 30-acre historic estate featuring a turn-of-the-century mansion with elegant inn guest rooms and 7 large private vacation homes, perfect for ski vacations and holiday celebrations. Special offer on select rooms and houses. Stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free through Christmas Day. CNN has called the Wilburton one of the top 8 mansion hotels in America. Call 802-362-2500 or visit wilburtoninn.com for more information.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports. On occasion, we're going to do something that I have euphemistically called the Nutmeg National Nugget, with today's little note coming out a little while ago. Super Bowl I will run on Friday night in a rebroadcast form. There actually was no existing full tape of it, despite being broadcast by both NBC and CBS, but they have culled together, the NFL Network has, culled together the enough footage to create the broadcast with analysis from studio analysts of the modern era, as well as some former Chiefs and Packers. And they're also going to have the play-by-play call from NBC Radio, which featured the broadcaster Jim Simpson, who had done a bunch of things in his career and was one of the very first hired by ESPN in 1979. He did 16 Major League Baseball All-Star games, 14 Olympic games, the 1952 Winter Games, the 96 Summer Games in Atlanta. He was on those as well. 6 Super Bowls, 6 World Series, Grand Slam golf, major bowl games, 14 Orange Bowls, a lot of stuff in his career. Jim Simpson, one of 2 remaining broadcasters from Super Bowl I, died this morning at the age of 88, so I wanted to pass that along. I remember him quite well, working with Sandy Koufax. In fact, you don't think of Koufax as a broadcaster, but there he was with Jim Simpson.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
See, you learn something new every time I'm here.
I try to educate, I really do. So, truly a Hall of Fame broadcaster, so the age of 88, Jim Simpson gone today, so I thought I'd bring that up as our little nugget, and we've got a few other nuggets before we say goodbye.
Yeah, we got some, we'll go, I'll talk about some of the games tonight. We were talking about Danbury basketball before, and they're going to be in action tonight against Central. A few games got postponed yesterday because most of the games like Ridgefield and Trumbull and Danbury, so they're going to be in action again. Ward at Trumbull should be a very good game. Ward's playing well right now, and Trumbull's playing well right now. And like you were saying before with boys basketball, it's hard to get a feel for some of those teams that are in the mix right now. But we talked about Wilton. Was another one, had a big win last night.
Yeah, I mean, Wilton's right there in the mix, and we'll get their head coach on as well. They're having a nice season, and I don't think they had very high aspirations for either boys or girls basketball this year. He's a good coach, though. Joel Juriak is a very good coach, and
excellent coach.
I think he does a great job with that team. Took that boys team a long way last year, and that was a good team, but you got to give something to the coaching.
He's really done a great job there because Wilton, for years before he got there, really they'd have a good year every now and then, but nothing consistent. And he's made it into a consistent contender. They're not a team anybody wants to see coming in the playoffs. They're not a team anybody really, especially going. That I believe that field house over at Wilton is an advantage to them. There's a different depth perception there.
Oh, there totally is.
I think that does help them a little bit, but you got to give them credit. They get the job done when they have to, and they've beaten some very, very good teams, including Greenwich last night.
They did, I believe, beat them 55-51, if I recall.
55-51, you're right on the money.
And I believe we are also there for a game. We are on the 26th. That's a Tuesday night. Ridgefield-Wilton. Ridgefield's a scrappy little team, so let's see what they and it's a rivalry. So you got Ridgefield and the Warriors. Should be kind of fun.
When you throw the rivalries in there, records go out the window. Whatever they're doing at the time goes out the window. That's a game. That's a playoff game in itself.
And it seems like off the conversation with both coaches, there is right now, as we kind of talked about, there's Darien, New Canaan, then there's a deep divide before you get to anybody else. That's what it feels like to me.
In girls hockey, yes, yeah, definitely. And you got, you're going to. Greenwich was looking very good. Then Stanford came up with a big overtime win against them last night. I believe Ridgefield came from behind to beat Greenwich. So Greenwich has had a couple of rough losses there. But they're still in the thick of it. So we'll see. It's a long season, and a lot of those teams behind New Canaan and Darien are going to be, battling it out for that 3rd and 4th spot. I just have a hard time seeing anybody being able to slip into that final other than New Canaan and Darien.
Don and I were talking about it on yesterday's show. If you're given a vote for best team in the state right now, do you have a team?
With the boys hockey?
Boys hockey.
Boys hockey, I would have to right now based on what they've done Greenwich.
That's what we said.
But it's like, we've talked before how it's so hard to figure out what's going on. If you look,
it is.
I was looking at New Canaan getting a big win that they needed last week against Ridgefield. 3-2, and but then you look at New Canaan got crushed by Hamden 6-2 in a very bad game early in the year, and then Ridgefield goes out and shuts out Hamden 2-0. So what do you make of all of those 3 games? And St. Joe's is playing so well, and then they go out and they get shut out by Greenwich. So Greenwich right now I think is the team up at the top, but it's hockey. You're on any given day. I feel like any team can beat another team. I
feel like I've got a top 3 in the FCAC. Greenwich, Darien, and I think St. Joseph. Is there a 4th?
Right now, I think you're right on those top 3. St. Joseph's had some impressive wins. I would say it would have to go between New Canaan and Ridgefield, and New Canaan beat Ridgefield, even though it was a
true.
non-conference game.
That's a good point.
I'd probably say New Canaan at this point in number 4, because I can't think of anybody else who'd really be up there. Staples has actually been impressive with playing teams that are Division II, Division III, but they did lose to New Canaan. They gave them the heck of a game. They lost 4-3 in that one, and it was close late, but New Canaan pulled that one out. But yeah, I'd have to go with New Canaan at this point, with Ridgefield a very, very close 5th.
Time flies when we're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Back next week.
I'll be here.
In fact, next week, as I said, we won't be on the road for the show. We will be here for the show, since the ice hockey game is at 6:30 that we've added to the schedule. So we'll be here for that one, as far as I know. Of course, check your local listings. Monday, we will likely not be here. In fact, perhaps Don will do it, or we'll do it from the rinks at Shelton. But we'll let you know. Of course, all that will be. But we'll be with you one way or another. Back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the whole shebang. And I will see Dave next week. Good stuff as always, and good interview today.
Yeah, it was great. Those two guys are great. They're good friends, and they're very good coaches. We were talking before. I've known Jamie since he was coaching, an assistant coach with Bo Hickey with the New Canaan boys hockey team. We have to mention Bo Hickey every week.
I think that there's a requirement. Otherwise, there's a recommended daily allowance of Bo. That'll do it for Nutmeg Sports. We will see you back here on Monday. Coffee break tomorrow morning, Yankee Fisherman, Arts and Leisure. But don't forget Friday, girls basketball, rematch of the 2015 FCAC Championship. The Greenwich Cardinals, the Ridgefield Tigers. We'll have the call for you from up at Ridgefield High School. But for now, thanks to Eric Gendron, thanks to Dave Stewart, and thanks to you for watching. I'm Rob Adams. Enjoy your day. And we'll see you for Friday for basketball, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coffee Break right here on the HAN Network. So long, everyone.